Hi everyone, Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. I hope you subscribe to my channel. And I just completed my 38th year coaching football as a defensive coordinator, but I've also been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator. I've been a head coach at both the collegiate and high school levels. Today in this presentation, I want to talk to you about how we defend what we call the Wham scheme. That's when the tight end is off, and now that's an extra blocker that they can bring in to the scheme, and how we defend it. It's a very, very unique scheme, which enables us to teach a very, very unique way to defend it. Essentially, it's the only way, the only time, I should say, sorry, that we allow our Mike and our backer, our two inside linebackers, to actually at one point, okay, spill instead of patch. It's what we call patch and spill. All right, how's that for a tease? So, if you see my, excuse me, base fronts on a whiteboard playlist, I have in there, when we check stack. So in other words, we get out of our base 3-4 front because the tight end is off the ball. Okay, so we're going to be in our check stack because the tight end's off. That's an automatic front and cover. Again, please see that playlist, right? Base fronts on the whiteboard. So today's presentation, 3-4 versus the tight end off. So it's going to bring in the check stack versus the Wham. Okay, the Wham scheme. So key terms today, surface as always, level integrity. This time it's our level integrity. What we call add a gap, but this time we're going to add 4 gaps plus 4. And that's where the Wham scheme is unique. Okay, so we'll get to that in the presentation. It's both the pull and the tight end Wham that gives us 4 additional gaps. Okay, this brings in what we call the patch and spill. This is the unique aspect when it comes to our Mike and our backer in terms of how they help us defeat the Wham scheme. All right. So there's a wrap and or there's a second high wall defender. Okay. So in one case is going to be a wrap. In the other case is going to be not one, but 2 high wall defenders. Okay. So you patch the first, you spill the second. That's the rule of thumb, right? P comes before S. Patch the first, spill the second. Okay. Sing it with me now. Patch the first, spill the second. And it works because P comes before S. Trust me, kids understand it if you present it to them in this sequence. So we're also, again, this is unique to the Wham. This is the one scheme. If you've seen my base fronts versus on the whiteboard, excuse me, where I talk about setting the self-adjusting run support force. Okay, there's a formation we call Topeka versus 11 that is very unique. So this is the one way we do it, and the kids get it because of the uniqueness. That's going to hold true against the Wham scheme, as you'll see. We got a pull call, which again, consistent means skip pull. We got a Wham call, which tells the nose to push. The DNs are going to play C gap, as you'll see, and then retrace. And the new terms, patch and spill, because of the Wham stub. Backside safety now has got the B gap, and we'll teach you that. The invert, which is playside safety's force now because it's the belly course of ball. The Wham scheme, Wham itself, and retrace are all new. Okay? So first, as I've done consistently, I'm going to utilize the black to diagram the offensive scheme, and then the red to teach you how the defense reacts to that scheme. Okay, so up top here, this is a gun Dallas off away. It's a left off call, which brings in check stack. And then it's a rip call. That's the pass strength. Okay? Because 2's detached, we're in orbit. 2's not detached, we're in sky, right? Boom, done. So it's an east call. We don't say away, but we tag it in the huddle. All right? So this would be the huddle tag in the formation column. We would just be screaming east. The away, again, it's the tight end. So you got to do your film study. More often than not, on a Wham scheme, the halfback is away from the tight end. Doesn't have to be, but we found it to be the case. All right. So again, it helps your kids eliminate plays and or anticipate. So, Wham scheme. Okay. The two offensive tackles have 5 techniques, so they just work to get inside position, get their butt in the hole, if you will. Okay. In this case, the tight end's on our left, offensive right. So the left guard or the right guard, as we look at it, is going to be the puller or the wrap up into B gap. Okay. So remember, anytime you do a puller or you bring another blocker in, it adds a gap. So there's 1 gap, 2 gaps. Remember, this is +4. So the surface, as a reminder, in this case, it's tackle guard, center guard, tackle. Tight end is always a part of the surface unless he's detached, like number 2. Okay? The level integrity is ours, is going to bring in right now, excuse me, the defensive ends. Their reaction, sorry, I almost blew it, right? Red. Their reaction is they're going to shoot him because now with a 5 technique, the tackle is both the pressure key and the visual key. There is no cheat read step into the guard because that's the visual key. No. Pressure visual key is the same. So boom, knock back, get control, constrict the hole. That's what we say. Get control, constrict the hole. In other words, don't get driven out as a 5 technique. Get control, that's knock back, constrict the hole. Hold your ground. Okay, everything rhymes, kids remember. And have your head here so you can see if the ball bounces, you're in a position to make the play. Once the ball disappears, that brings in the retrace. So the defensive end on the side of the halfback, so he hears east, it's always the stud. West, it's always the end. That defensive end has to think quarterback first. C-gap makes him a quarterback because this could be a power read look. Could be. Okay? So on the side of the halfback, he's going to be here, confirm quarterback doesn't have it, then retrace. Okay? And that's also a part of our level integrity. They're not retracing at the depth of linebackers. They're retracing to get across the face of the offensive tackle on their level, first level. Okay? Everybody's cool with that, Hope? All right. So we're working here on our add a gap. All right, we got the pull. That added 2. So now the tight end wham, and then I'll get to the defensive reactions. Okay, and I'll get to, in particular, the guard, the center, and the guard because they create the 2 high wall. Okay? So now the tight end. This is usually given away. They don't necessarily motion them, that bull crap, shuffle motion, although they can, but it won't get far because then they'll snap the ball. They'll tighten his alignment usually. Again, not always, but usually. And in the snap of the ball, he's essentially trapping the nose, the wham blocks coming from the, just behind the offensive line. It's not second level, but fairly close. That's the wham. Okay, that's the wham block. Does that make sense, I hope? So, see, here's what you got, right? 3 and 4 now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You got all those gaps. So how are you going to cover all that? Okay, now couple that with the center. Hopefully you can see the number 4 there. The center is going to be responsible to try and high wall the backer. Oh. And now the guard is trying to high wall the mic. Okay? He's trying to high wall the mic. So there's your double high wall. And the double high wall is for your backer. So I'm going to start with the backer on this. And then I'm going to work my way to the nose, the mic, then the rover. Okay? Backer, nose, mic, rover. Backer, nose, mic, rover to be finished with the two safeties. So backer, nose, mic, rover. Backer, nose, mic, rover. Okay? So here, he's lined up in a B-split on the tackle. He's the 31 technique. Okay? He's a 31 technique to the rover. He's a 71. First thing he's screaming is pull. That's alerting everybody that, right, the guard's staying square. Here comes a skip pull. Against check stack, it's going to be the wrap. We anticipated up in the B gap. So here comes the push spill, right? Excuse me. Push the first, spill the second. Push the first, spill the second. Here's the first blocker. Remember, pull technique. Shuffle, shuffle, eye the wall. There's the first wall. Right? The center. So you patch over the center. Now you got your second wall. Right? Remember the extra gaps. So now you're going to spill underneath because now I go to the nose. He hears Wham. He's pushing up the field, and if possible, he's going to bend, right? Push and bend. There's that level integrity. So this fourth gap that's been created, that's taken care of by the nose. So that's not available as a cutback lane. That's our color jersey is showing. So the back's not going there. Okay? So then now he's on that side of the extra blocker, number 4. Backer fits in number 3. See that? I had 3 on the wrong side. My apologies. Okay? Nose is in the 4th extra gap. Backer patch spill puts him in the 3 extra gap. Mike, here, patch over the guard. Is your first high wall. The wrapper becomes the second. Spill the second. Patch the first, spill the second. Patch the first, spill the second. So now the 4 extra gaps, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, either side of the wrapper. 3, 4, either side of the tight end. Okay, the nose is in 4. The backer's in 3. Mike's in 2. So who's in 1, you ask? Let me eliminate the retrace because it's not going to happen that quickly. The running back cannot get ahead of the wrapper. He's supposed to be on the hip of the wrapper. So defensive end, the end in this case, right? Boom! Shoot the hands. The tight end is part of the rover surface. Tight end's in on the wham call. He's the one. The rover's making that wham call. Rover's making it. The rover. Okay? There isn't a 7 gap now. Right? 1, 3, 5, 7 because the tight end went in. Now it's 1, 3, 5. So since it's sky, the rover fits into that 1 gap. See how this works? 1 extra gap, rover. 2nd extra gap, Mike. 3rd extra gap, backer. 4th extra gap, the nose. That's how we handle the +4, the added gap, because of the tight end wham. Okay? The wrapper and the tight end create the 4 extra gaps, 1 on either side of them, because they are the new addition to the surface. Backside guards new over here, tight ends new over here. That's why they become the ones who add the extra gaps. 4 of them, 1 on either side of the blocker. Okay? And so then now, right, backer, nose, Mike, rover. We took care of that, right? Now the safety, see, technically, Freeze on the back side of this, right? Pulling over here, back right. He's on the back side. So now the stub call Anytime there's a 5 technique, and this is the simple rule, our base 3-4-4 technique, backside safety is a slice, C-gap. Anytime there's a 5 technique, in any of our fronts, in this case, check stack, backside safety's a stub, B-gap. That's it. We just simply say, like we say to our backers half the time, look at where the alignments are, man. Right? Which gap do you line up in? Which gap do you think you have? When there's a 5 technique, young linebackers, what technique are you? And they'll probably say 51. Well, how can that be, son? Who's in the 5 gap? Oh, yeah. Right? It's no different with your safeties. So now, zit. He comes down, and if he sees the retracing defensive end cross his face, our safety will exchange outside, right? Same color exchange concept. But assuming that our defensive end either cannot retrace and get across the face of the tackle or he gets hung up, who knows? Our backside safety is that stub, B gap. Remember, stub, S, safety, backside, B gap. Boom, done. Okay? And then last and certainly not least, the invert. Now, playside safety. Here's zit. See, here's the Wham. Sees the tight end block. He's reading the same surface as the rover. So now he comes down, and the invert is roughly 5 yards because that course of ball should be hitting into the B gap area. B gap, A gap. If he races upfield, the ball will break behind him. We do not have a force defender. Okay? So this is one reason of many why when that tight end's off, we check stack. Because the one scheme that can hurt you big time is this Wham scheme, which could be the reason they do it. And also the bullcrap shuffle motion, which doesn't affect us because we're in the check stack. Okay? So again, the big coaching points here. The Wham scheme itself is wildly unique. So therefore, you could teach your inside linebackers, yes, you patch that high wall, but you're going to have a double patch, okay? Both the Mike and the backers, who this applies to. It only applies to them, okay? You patch your first blocker, and then when the second blocker appears, you spill it. And you can teach this by walking through. Just simply call it a Wham fits period. It's what we do. Okay, guys, today we're going to do the Wham fits. The day that you install the Wham run blocking scheme, tight end off, is the same day you introduce check stack to the tight end off. And the kids buy into it because now you're giving them a concrete reason why you check stack. And then you can build in the next day. Don't do too much in the same day because this isn't the only thing you're going to do. Build in that bullcrap shuffle motion. Again, they'll buy in why you're doing it. Okay, so just like Wham fits. And if it takes you a period, 2 periods, 3 practices of just fitting in Wham fits, do it in meetings. You can do it out in the quad. Do it in the gym when it's raining. There's so many places you can do it. You do it in a meeting room. But do it until it sinks in, and then do it a little bit more full speed until you get pads on, and then bring it, baby, because they're going to have to do that at some point. Okay? So I mentioned it at the beginning, and I meant that I hope you subscribe to my channel. I'll mention it now. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at coachmjsullivan@gmail.com because I'd love to talk football with you. And I hope this was very helpful. Again, the Wham scheme is as unique as it gets. I have this out of 11. It can be done out of 21 with a tight end off. Okay, so if you have any questions, please reach out to me because I'd love to talk football with you.